Here's a weird thought. Crocodile meat is surprisingly lean and packed with protein, comparable to staples like chicken and beef. And people who've actually tried it, they often say it's delicious. On top of that, over 1 million crocodiles are raised on farms across the globe every year. So, if it tastes good, it's relatively healthy, and we're already farming them, why isn't it on every menu? Why aren't we seeing crocodile burgers at our local drive-thru or croc steaks in the supermarket? Well, the answer isn't just that they're dangerous. The real story is a tangle of fashion economics, ancient fears, and a surprising amount of paperwork. We're going to unravel the reasons that keep this prehistoric predator off your plate. And what we find reveals a lot more about us and the world we've built than it does about crocodiles. The first thing that jumps to mind is, of course, the danger. And that's fair. A saltwater crocodile is an apex predator, a perfect killing machine that hasn't needed a design update in millions of years. The idea of wrestling a half-ton reptile with a bone-crushing bite just for a meal sounds like a terrible deal. For our ancient ancestors, it was. Hunting a crocodile was a high-risk, low-reward gamble. Unlike a herd of bison grazing predictably on an open plain, crocodiles were ambush artists, hidden in treacherous swamps and rivers. The risk just wasn't worth the calories. But that explanation falls apart today. We don't personally hunt most of the animals we eat, we farm them. And crocodile farming is a global business, from Australia to Africa to Southeast Asia. They're bred and raised on an industrial schedule. So if we can farm them safely, the danger of hunting them in the wild is no longer the main barrier. The meat is there, and it's being produced. And yet, for most of us, it's still just an exotic novelty. The real reasons are way more complicated, and a lot more interesting. To get the first big reason, you just have to follow the money. And in the crocodile industry, the serious money isn't in the meat, it's in the skin. Crocodile farming exists almost entirely to supply the luxury fashion market. A single high-quality handbag from crocodile leather can sell for tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Belts, boots, watch straps, they're all high-fashion, high-profit items. The meat, in this equation, is a secondary product. It's not worthless, and some farms do market it, but its value is dwarfed by the skin. There's never been a massive financial push to build a global supply chain for crocodile meat, because the real prize has always been on the outside. On top of that, the numbers for farming crocodiles just for meat don't really work. A chicken is ready for market in a few weeks. A pig in about 6 months. But crocodiles are slow-growing. Depending on the species and climate, it can take 2 to 3 years for a croc to get big enough for slaughter. That's years of food, space, and specialized care before a farmer sees a profit. They're also aggressive and territorial, which makes high-density farming much harder than it is for chickens or cattle. It's a slow, expensive process, and when you can produce other meats so cheaply and quickly, investing in crocodile just for the meat makes almost no economic sense. Our history with crocodiles is also a story of nearly wiping them out. In the 20th century, uncontrolled hunting for their valuable skins drove many species to the brink of extinction. This crisis led to one of the biggest hurdles for a global meat trade, international law. In response, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, or CITES, was created. It's a global agreement that strictly regulates trade in at-risk animals. Every single species of crocodilian is listed under CITES, meaning any international trade of their skins or meat is heavily controlled. Now, this doesn't make trade impossible, but it makes it a bureaucratic nightmare. To move crocodile products across borders, you need permits, licenses, and a mountain of paperwork. Each legal skin has a unique tag to track it from farm to fashion house. While these rules are mostly for the skin trade, they bog down the meat trade, too. Add in each country's own import rules and food safety standards, and you can see why it's been called the meat with paperwork. These regulations were vital for saving many species, but they also accidentally slammed the brakes on crocodile meat ever becoming a simple commodity like beef or pork. Beyond money and laws, there are biological reasons we don't tend to eat apex predators. A key concept here is called biomagnification. Think of it like this: as you move up the food chain, toxins build up. A small fish absorbs a tiny bit of a pollutant, like mercury, from the water. A bigger fish eats hundreds of those small fish, concentrating those toxins in its body. A crocodile, at the very top of its food chain, eats many of those bigger fish over its long life. As a result, wild apex predators can carry a higher load of environmental toxins in their bodies. For wild-caught crocodiles, this can be a real food safety concern. While farmed crocodiles on a controlled diet largely avoid this risk, this biological reality is one of the deep, evolutionary reasons humans have generally steered clear of eating carnivores. There's also the simple math of energy. A general rule of thumb in ecology is that only about 10% of the energy from one level of the food chain makes it to the next. So for every 100 calories of plants, you might get 10 calories of an herbivore, but only 1 calorie from a carnivore that eats that herbivore. From a pure energy standpoint, eating predators is incredibly inefficient. Our ancestors figured this out a long time ago, and it's shaped what we farm and eat to this day. But maybe the biggest barrier is the one inside our heads. For most people, the idea of eating a crocodile is just weird. It can trigger a feeling of disgust that has little to do with logic or taste. This isn't an accident. In many cultures, there's a powerful taboo against eating predators. These were the animals that hunted our ancestors, the monsters in the dark. Eating them feels like breaking some unwritten rule of the natural order. This idea got woven into culture and religion. For instance, many Islamic scholars prohibit eating predatory animals with fangs, though the specific classification of reptiles like crocodiles is debated. Similarly, Jewish dietary laws effectively exclude all reptiles, as they don't meet the specific criteria for what makes an animal kosher. In Western cultures, this evolved further. Some carnivores became companions, like dogs and cats. We started seeing charismatic predators like lions as symbols of wildness, not as dinner. A crocodile falls right into this uneatable category for many. It isn't livestock, it's a monster, a symbol of nature's power. You can't just develop a taste for something your culture never taught you to see as food. Even where it is eaten, like in parts of Australia or the southern United States with alligators, it's often sold as an exotic thrill for tourists, not a regular Tuesday night meal. So, the crocodile's absence from your dinner plate isn't a simple mystery with one answer. It's a wall built from many different bricks. It's a story that starts with the high price of a luxury handbag, which turned the meat into a secondary concern. It continues with international treaties written to save species from extinction, which created a maze of red tape. It's reinforced by the basic biology of the food chain, which makes eating predators inefficient. And it's all held together by a deep cultural taboo, an ancient unease about eating the hunter in the water. The fact that crocodile might taste like chicken is almost beside the point. Taste is just a tiny part of why we eat what we eat. Our plates are shaped by invisible forces, by economics, history, law, and the stories we tell ourselves about which animals are friends, which are monsters, and which are food. The story of the crocodile is a perfect reminder that even a choice as basic as what to have for dinner is rarely as simple as it seems. What do you think? If it were available and affordable, would you try crocodile meat? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look into the hidden systems that shape our world, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.